Our second part of the lecture, we're going to look at intercepting these courses to and from the station. We'll take a peek at some of the FA test questions involving the HSI system as well. And we've got another discussion page here if you want to post any questions for us. When I think about intercepting a course, I want to make it a real easy concept for you. You need to think about the desired course plus or minus the intercept angle to determine what heading to fly. It absolutely does not matter what your current heading is. It only matters what is the desired course and what angle did you want to intercept it at. So your desired course plus or minus the intercept angle. So that allows for a, turning left or turning right to intercept a course. So take a look at some examples here. We're looking at the 360 course to the station. Of course, we're on the south side of the course. And if I am going to be paralleling the course by heading 360, I would have a 0-degree intercept angle. I'm thinking about the intercept angle between the heading I'm going to fly and the course. Okay? So if I wanted to use, say, a 30-degree intercept, okay, then I would have to think about my desired course, 360 degrees, add or subtract 30 for the intercept. Because I'm on the east side of the course line, I have to subtract off the intercept. 360 minus 30 gives me a 330 heading to fly. So determining your position first is very important, because if you're on the west side of the course line, then you would have to add the intercept in order to get to the course line. So I always recommend when you're dealing with the FA test questions, you always determine position of the aircraft first and then go back and answer the question. About a 45-degree intercept. I'm sorry, 60-degree intercept. If the aircraft was on the west side of the course line, I would think about my desired course of 360 plus 60 degrees. That would give us a heading to fly of 060. If I really wanted to get on course very quickly, I could do a 90-degree intercept. Being on the west side of the course, desired course of 360 plus 90 degrees. I had to fly a heading 090. So it's important to get that concept down. When you're thinking about intercepting a course, we sometimes think about distance from the station, and we sometimes think about how many degrees off the course line am I already. The closer I am to a station, the smaller my intercept should be. The farther away, then the bigger the intercept should be. But I also have to think about the wind. Is the wind pushing me on course, or is the wind keeping me away from course? You got to think about these different concepts. All right, standard intercept is 45 degrees. It should be familiar from your instrument training. Thinking about the instrument approach procedure with the 45-180 procedure turn. That's very standard. So let's go back over that simple intercept rule. Kind of alluded to it earlier in the course. Make sure you get the concept down here. Because obviously in the airplane, we just don't have time to sit down, draw out our course, draw out the two sides, the from side, the left needle area, the right needle area, plot our position. I need to know in 5 seconds what heading is going to get me to the course. It just needs to be that simple for you. Right? So I offer you this simple intercept rule here. Okay? We're going to pick a heading that corresponds to the side of the needle that's deflected that it's deflected towards and lies between the nose and the wingtip. So in our example here, we have a left needle deflection. Now, I will tell you that the airplane is on a magnetic heading of 270 degrees in this problem here. So we are magnetic heading of 270. We also have a course of 270 and to the station in there. So in effect, we're paralleling the course right now. So we're going to pick between the nose and the left wingtip. It's a left needle deflection. So between the nose and left wingtip, any of those numbers equal an intercept heading. I just like it easy. This works every time. This works on the twos. It works on the from courses. It works inbound to the station. It works outbound to the station. It works with normal sensing. It works with reverse sensing. It works on the HSI. It's the only rule that I need, okay? It just works all the time, okay? So anywhere from 180 degrees up to 269, because obviously 270 would parallel the course. 180 would be a 90-degree intercept. Might be a little too aggressive most of the time. Okay. So let's just take a further peek at this, okay? Airplane's still heading 270, or actually, it doesn't even matter what heading you're going. You can pick any direction you want, I don't care. You want to pick 030, you want to pick 120, you want to pick 180, it doesn't matter. All right? What matters is my intercept angle. If I want to attack this course at a 90-degree angle, then I'm going to fly 180 degrees. Okay? How do I get that? Start at the donut, go towards the CDI along the scaling, and that's where I arrive at 180. Okay? That is also 90 degrees off of 270 on the side of the needle. If I want a 60-degree intercept, it's 60 degrees from the left side of the desired course. That gives me 210. Or 30-degree intercept, heading 240. It's just that easy. I can just look in 5 seconds. I'm going to the station, left needle. Okay, pick anything between the left wing and the nose. That's an intercept. That will take me to that course line. What if it's a from indication? What if I'm not heading 270? What if I'm heading 150? What if I'm going the opposite direction, 090? Completely doesn't matter. This rule just works every single time. I want to intercept course 270 from the station. If I want a 90-degree intercept, I go north. Okay. Start at the donut, head towards the CDI needle along the scaling dots. I hit 360. That's my intercept heading. Fly it, you'll get there. Or if I want a less aggressive angle, I want a 60-degree angle, fly heading 330, or a 30-degree angle, fly heading 300. All right, so I like easy, and that's easy. Having one simple rule is easy. Okay. So we take a peek at how do we apply this if I'm flying around. And this just happened, I'm on a heading of 360 at this point, and I tune in 3602 course. And I notice I have a needle deflection to the left. I instantly know my course is to my west. Start at the donut, work towards the CDI deflection along the scaling dots. I have to go to the west to get it. Now I just pick my intercept angle. This one is a 30-degree intercept. So 30 degrees on the left side there, 330. If I'm on the west side of the course, I'm going to be adding my intercept, aren't I? Paralleling the course over here. I start my donut, move out. I know I got to go 090. That'd be a 90-degree intercept. I got to go easterly to get to my course line. It might be too aggressive of an intercept. Maybe I want to use a 60-degree angle. It's 60 degrees to the right side of my desired course. All right, so let's try a top hat question. See if you understand this concept. What is the heading needed to intercept the desired course inbound to the station with the indicated intercept angle? Course is 270 to the station, 30-degree intercept. All right, 240 is correct. So we got a 180 in there. All right. So 180 would get you on course, but that's a 90-degree intercept. 210 would get you on course, but that's a 60-degree intercept. So the correct answer is our 240 there. Try another one of those. Heading needed to intercept desired course outbound from the station with the indicated intercept angle. 45-degree intercept. 090 course from the station. All right, so when I say go outbound from the station, I want to head east along that course line. So most of you did get that correct answer, 045. Because we're on the south side of the station, desired course is 090 minus 45 gives you heading of 045. I also know if I start at the donut, work my way toward the CDI along the scaling dots, I see 360 is a 90-degree intercept course. So I know I have to pick something between the nose and the left wing, and 045 would be the heading to fly for that one. All right, so 315, someone applied the intercept to the heading you're flying. You're heading north, and if you turn left 315 degrees, that would take you northwest, but that's an inbound direction. That would be an inbound intercept. And that would be taking you on a 270 to the station. 225, that's to the southwest there. The current position is on the southeast side of the station. All right, let's see if you got any questions on that. Doesn't look like anything's typed. Any verbal questions? All right, move on. 2 more sections here, and then we'll have some time for our group activity today. Talk about bearings. Shouldn't be a new concept for you. You've got the bearing pointer in the airplane. Hopefully you're using the bearing pointer. Bearing pointer is a nice reference tool. It gives you a lot of quality information about those vectors you're getting from ATC. Tells you if you're getting the slam dunk onto the approach. Tells you if you're going to blow through an approach course. Tells you if you're not even going to make it to the approach course by the final approach fix. So it's a very valuable one, so I encourage you to always use the bearing pointer at the appropriate time on the approach procedure. Well, let's talk about bearings. We got the discussion area there for you and how they relate to courses. We're going to start with bearings to the station, and bearing is simply a course. Slightly different terminology. With the VOR, we always talked about a radial, but a bearing can apply to any type of nav aid. Traditionally, it was always with the non-directional beacon, but it can apply to any nav aid, any waypoint that your satellite-based systems use. So think of a bearing as a course that leads directly to the station. So if I was on the northwest side of the station and I'm facing 160 degrees and I start walking, I'm going to make it to the station. Or if I'm on the southeast side and I'm facing 280 degrees and I start walking, I'm going to make it to the station. Likewise, if I'm on the southwest side of the station, I'm facing 060 degrees. If I start walking, I'm going to make it to the station. So a bearing is simply something that a course that's leading you directly to the station there. Let's try some top hat questions, see if you understand that one. Okay, use the outer edge of the compass rose. Click on the 300 degree bearing to the station. So where would I be if I'm facing 300 degrees and going to the station? Oh boy, looks like a big split, about half and half there. 300 is a northwest direction. If I'm facing northwest and going to the station, think of it that way. So I have to be on the southeast side. So if you put your dot on the southeast side, then you got it. Yes? But it tells you the direction you're taking to get there. Yeah. We'll try another one here in a second. Okay. All right, so anybody put their dot up here on the northwest side? If you're facing 300 degrees, you're actually going from the station at that point there. Give that a second to digest in. Let me go back to my previous slide. Okay, so here's the previous slide. So for example, I used the bearing 280 to the station. Okay. I'm on the east-southeast side of the station. I am facing 280 degrees. So I'm facing west-northwest. And that will lead me right straight to the station there. So about half of you got that one wrong. So is there any questions? Try another top hat question here in a second. Yes.
Okay, so it's on the 280.
You are determining the location that's going to get you to the station by flying heading 300, which is the 2 course.
Okay, so we weren't finding the bearing or
Our position, yes, that's right. Matt, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, just because that
A little flipped around, isn't it? North is still up at top. North is still up there. East, west, and south. No one likes that figure. I'm probably going to end up just replacing that one. Anyway, bearing's going to take you to the station there. So when I go back to my top hat question, I still got north up at the top of the screen there. 300 bearing to the station. I'm facing 300 degrees and I'm getting to the station. So I have to be on the southeast side of it there.
So we're telling you where the plane is, not where the bearing is?
That's both.
So wouldn't the...
Well, actually, we're not discussing necessarily the position since I don't have a display on here. But where is the 300 bearing to the station? That's really what the question is. If I was to draw a course line on here, my course line, I can't bring a drawing tool up right now, is right here. That's my 300 course to the station. So you thought you're answering this question in what way?
So my interpretation originally was this is like a DOR or whatever that we're looking at, and we're telling you where the bearing is pointing. So like the center of that would be the display, and the bearing, if you're flying on a 300 bearing, the bearing would be pointing to the 300. And obviously the plane would be then southeast, but the bearing would be northwest.
Okay. Let's see if I could reword that question for some other classes here. I'm moving on to my next slide. We'll see if we can understand this a little bit better. In addition to a bearing that's to the station, there's also bearings from the station. Then the concept is you're at station and you start walking in a certain direction. So we're at station here. I'm facing 280 degrees. I start walking. I'm on the bearing 280 from the station. I'm proceeding away from station on my west-northwest heading. If I'm at station and I'm facing 060 and I start walking 060 degrees, I'm walking away from the station. That is bearing 060 from the station. And if I'm at station and I'm facing 160 degrees, start walking, I'm on the bearing 160 from the station. So I'll just pause for a second, see if you got questions about that. All right, let's try the top hat question then. Use the outer edge of the compass rose, and we're clicking on the 240 bearing from the station. Again, we're facing 240 degrees. We're walking from the station. It looks like just about all of you got that one correct then. If you put your dot up here at 060, that could either be the 060 from the station, but if you're facing 240 degrees, that would be a 240 to the station. Let's see if this makes a little more sense with the actual display that you're using. So we want to be able to plot our position on the compass rose. The nice thing about the bearing pointer, when we're looking at the bearing to the station, is we just simply look at the arrow head. As long as we have our magnetic heading up here, we can simply look at the bearing pointer needle head and determine our position to get to the station. In this case, it's pointing at 010. So we need to go 010 to get to the station. That puts us down on the south side of the station there. So I'll just pause, see if you got a question on that. The head of the needle simply tells us what heading do we need to take to get to the station. In this case, it says you need to go ahead and heading of 010 in order to get to the station. See how you do on the top hat question then. On the outer edge of the compass rose, click on the location of the airplane based upon the bearing pointer. I don't have it up there. Do you see something up there? There it goes. So the head of the needle tells you what direction to fly to get there. All right, a lot of you got that one correct. So if you put your tag up there on 330, you got the right answer there. Someone put their tag on 315. So we're just looking at our position of the aircraft situationally, trying to figure out, plot our position here is all we're doing. Someone else put their tag up on 350. I'm not quite sure why you did that. If you put your tag down here on 150, that's on the from side. It's going away from the station. Remember, this head is pointing to 150. That simply tells you fly 150 to get to the station. Looks like somebody put their tag on the actual display unit here. Okay, so we have been working exclusively on the compass rose, the hand-drawn one there. Right. This is a bearing from, all right? This is simply telling you your position from the station. We do have magnetic heading, so the aircraft is actually on a heading of 045 degrees here. As long as we got magnetic heading in our display, we look at the tail. The tail instantly tells us our bearing from the station. And since our tail's on 360, that is our position. I don't know why I got that diagonal line up there. So, all right. So tail of the needle indicates the position from. Okay. That head is your position to the station. When you're dealing with the FA questions, you can choose to use the head or the tail. All right, so let's try. So first of all, see if you got any questions. Try top hat question then. Use the outer edge of the compass rose. Click on the location of the plane based on the bearing pointer. Now, let me help you understand what you're looking at. This is a multi-display unit. It does include a VOR display. It does include a bearing pointer. You should be able to recognize the VOR display here. The bearing pointer is the diagonal line. Yeah. So you need to get used to looking at multi-displayed units. Location of the aircraft, that's what we're looking for. Read the tail that tells you where the airplane is from the station. Whoa, all right. All right. Now, if you are the person putting your dot over here on the actual display, move it on over, right side of the screen. Okay. If you put your dot up here on the north side, you got it right. Good job, okay? So the tail of the bearing pointer is on 360. That's your position from. You could also think of it, oh, the head's pointing to 180. That's my position to the station. It means I have to fly a heading of 180 to get to the station. All right. If you chose 030, you missed out on my little talk about the multi-nav display here. The 030 is the VOR course for the CDI. All right, and if you put it on 180, then you were on the wrong side there. So any questions on that? So do we use bearing pointers or bearings in our nav? Well, they're still displayed up in some parts of the country. This example is up from Alaska. In Alaska, it's a little more challenging to have VOR signals. You got a lot of mountains. But bearing pointers, or your non-directional beacons, they can follow very nicely through a lot of the mountainous areas. Sometimes they bounce off the mountains, but usually they do a nice job. In this case here, we got a co-location of 2 nav units. Okay. Here we see Sandspit VOR and Sandspit non-directional beacon. They're co-located, and there's airways located off both of them. So if we go off to the northwest, we start to see this black line here. It's got a 312 course on it. That's Victor 440. Of course, Victor airways are VOR based. But there's also this brown line paralleling it. And it's got a course of 129 degrees and the arrow pointing to the station. That's another airway. That's one of the colored airways. Before there was VOR airways, there was non-directional beacon airways. And so the airway course is 129 degrees to the station. That's what we see right there. So this stuff is real. Okay? I don't know if we're going to still use it for navigation, but it's also possible if you go to a lot of third world countries, you may not have the ability for satellite-based navigation, and they might be all they have is non-directional beacons for you. All right. Questions? Any verbal questions? All right, last topic here, and then we'll get into our groups. Horizontal situation indicator, good old HSI. You've been flying Western aircraft for a while now. You've been using the HSI exclusively. It's a wonderful tool. Let's just make sure you know the basics. Most of you probably do. Discussion board here for you. So obviously, you know, the heading indicator and the VOR display are combined into one instrument. Helps the pilot with reducing the workload for scanning the instruments. There's an orange airplane in the center here that represents your airplane. And because it's representing your airplane, whatever is under the white lubber line at the top here is your heading that you are flying. There is a course that's set with the yellow arrowhead. In this case, it's on a course of 090 degrees. There's a tail to that course line here. And there's also a deviation indicator. This one is approximately 8 degrees deflected to the right. I know it's a right deflection because I'm clockwise from the arrowhead here. And then I have a to from indicator. You're used to seeing the arrowhead pointing always to, I'm sorry, the triangle always pointing to the arrowhead. Okay. That's your to indication right there. If your triangle ever pointed towards the tail, that would be the from indication. That'd be something that, unless you're using VORs, you're probably not as used to that indication. So we see the aircraft is on a magnetic heading of 045 degrees. The course is 090 degrees to the station, 8 degree right needle deflection. So using that information, we can then plot the aircraft's position here. So that's just the basics on the HSI. Let's just take a peek and plot our course. Here's our example. We see the aircraft is on a 360 magnetic heading. The course is set to 040, and we see a to indication. It's a left needle deflection, approximately 4 degrees. So when I think about this, and this is how, or why I emphasize with the FA test questions, plot your position first. Okay? This is how I set up the problem. The 040 course and to the station. They see my triangle is pointing at the arrowhead there. I'm going to draw any line that represents that course. Okay. Now I'm going to figure out which side of the course am I on. Of course, my one simple trick, it works. Start at the center, work toward the CDI along the scaling, and I see I have to go northwest to get on the course line. If I have to go northwest, then I'm on the southeast side of the course line. Nice thing about the HSI is I have a representation of the airplane and the course, and I see that the aircraft is already on an intercept course for my course line. Nice little feature. Questions on that? Right. The FAA, though, is going to give you what I call a triple nav display. Let's make sure we understand this little critter. The first one, nav type in there is the distance measuring equipment. Upper left-hand corner, they give you your distance from the station. The second one is going to be the bearing pointer. Okay, I have it labeled as RMI. Okay, I'll put another label of BP for bearing pointer. RMI just stands for radio magnetic indicator, if you're curious. It's a bearing pointer. And we see the head of the bearing pointer. It's on 235 degrees. And here's the tail. They're not very big. Okay. You do need to use the bearing pointer for these type of FA test questions. Okay. And then, of course, the last one is the actual VOR course. I see the head of the VOR course there. It's on 180. And as a reminder, in the upper right corner, I have the course number displayed as well. I have a right needle deflection of approximately 9 degrees. And then I also have a 2 indication here because my triangle is pointing towards the arrowhead. So you got to get used to this nav display. You're going to see it on your exam questions. And the FAA does like to get a little tricky with you on these type of questions by giving you something that's beyond full scale. Right? So when we take a look at this display unit, you have to notice that the last dot, I'll color it in red here for you, is there, and your CDI is deflected beyond the dot. That dot represents 10 degrees. Your CDI is beyond 10 degrees. So you're more than 10 degrees off course. So how do we plot our position here? Okay. So I always start off with what course is the CDI programmed for? Okay. The VOR course is 180 degrees. My triangle is pointing towards the head, so by 2 indication. So my course line that I'm going to put on the VOR is right there. But I know I'm more than 10 degrees away from that course line. I do know that I have to go in a westerly direction to get to course. Well, that helps me identify that I'm somewhere in this quadrant here, okay? But I need to be a little bit more specific on it. And that's where the bearing pointer is going to come in. Notice the head here pointing at 210 and the tail over here pointing on the 030 mark. That's the bearing pointer, so we need to use this information here and understand that I'm on the 030 bearing from the station. So my red dot there represents the position of the aircraft. We are 030 from the station. I can't use the VOR information because I'm beyond 10 degrees. So I need to switch over to the bearing pointer. I like to look at the tail. Tail tells me my bearing from the station. It's on 030. That puts me on the northeast side of the station. Questions on that? So that's the FAA's doing. That's not mine, right? It's helping you understand their questions. Let's walk through an FAA style question. Which is true regarding the nav aid if the present heading is maintained. Before I even look at my answer choices, my first step is always going to be plot the position of the aircraft. Then I can see which one of these will be true. Okay. I'll get my compass rose out, and I see that they put in there course 240 to the station. It's a right needle deflection. Okay. But it's more than 10 degrees off, so I have to use my bearing pointer. So I'm on the easterly side of the station, about 095 degrees. That red dot represents where I'm at. I either have to go about 275 to get to the station, or the tail indicates I'm at about 095. So now let's start taking a peek at it then. Will we cross radial 060 at a 15-degree angle? Let's put in radial 060. There's our blue line representing 060 degrees. Present heading is going to be maintained. That comes from the question. I'm on a heading of 255 right now. So on heading 255, will I cross radial 060? Now you can see it. Now you can see I will not cross radial 060 at all by maintaining my 255 heading. So answer A is thrown out. Answer B, will we intercept radial 240 at a 30-degree angle? So I'm going to put a line in representing 240. And I can easily see now that yes, I'm going to intercept radial 240. But here's the qualifier. Will it be a 30-degree angle? So I'm maintaining 255, and there's 240. Well, that's a difference of 15 degrees right there. That's not a 30-degree angle. Yes, on the intercept, but not at a 15-degree intercept angle, but only at 15 degrees, not 30. Well, the obvious answer then is choice C, but just walking through it, okay, will we cross radial 180 at a 75-degree angle? So there's my 180. You can easily see that we will cross over it. Now the difference between my heading, 255, and 180, that is, when you do the math, 75 degrees. So that's why answer C is the correct answer for that one there. So that's what you can expect from the FA style questions. Do you have any questions on that particular one? Doesn't look like there's any questions. All right.